Okay, now we're going to install the hub assembly to the RJ35, which is going to consist of a few parts. We need a hub, and this happens to be a reproduction hub. I do have the originals to this tractor. The teeth are kind of worn out, and in my prior videos I've welded them up and ground them down in order to make the teeth back on it. I just didn't feel like doing it. So I want to get this tractor kind of going. If I sell this tractor, I'll probably refurb the originals and take these repros off. And the parts that we're going to need is the hub, obviously a paw system with the drag spring. We refurbed this earlier in the video, so this one's all set. You're going to need a woodruff key, and we nicked the edge off for the clearance as we talked about earlier. Cotter pin and some steel shims to take up the slack. I've already measured this out, so the shimmage is correct. First thing I'm going to do, clean the shaft. Like I said, clean the woodruff key slot. One thing I like to do is add a little blue Loctite to the slot. Don't know if it's needed or not, but ultimately I just do it. It's probably wrong, but I don't care. So, whoop, way too much. That's what happens when you do this stuff on video. Here, let's take this out. Blot some of that up. Stick it back in there. Still too much. Wipe that off. There we go. That's good enough. Still too much. Got a little happy with the Loctite, I guess. Just get some of that off. That'll take up any of the slack that I may have produced with the woodruff key slot. There we go. Beautiful. Nice. There we go. And we have it correctly positioned. Alright, next thing. The drag spring drags on this side of the bearing cover. So what I want to do is I like to grease that up, take a little bit of bearing grease, smear it around this area, because when you initially grease this hub up through the little grease fitting, you're not going to get grease on this section of the paw assembly. So grease it up, make sure you got a good coating on there, that way that spring doesn't bind up, it just slides real nice all around. Okay, so just, of course this is going to collect dirt and crap, but eventually that's what's going to happen anyway. So there we go. Alright, we're going to take our paw assembly with the spring pointed in. I'm going to add a little bit of grease to this because we want our paw assembly to slide real nice on the bearing plate, or excuse me, on the gear case cover. I keep calling it a bearing plate, I don't know why. Alright, and then we're going to slide our hub assembly on, and there it is. We have drag. I can hear that, I can feel the drag. Next thing we're going to do, take some grease. We're going to load this up because this is where the hub is going to ride. It's going to ride on that portion of the paw. Next we're going to take a little bit of grease and going to hit this bearing surface, or the slide surface. This is where the axle shaft goes, just to get it started. Because I'll pump a bunch of grease in this just before we're going to take it out for a ride. But this will lube up the whole system real nice. Get that bearing surface done. Want to lube up this fascia. This is what rides on the paw. So, and that's it. You know, if you want to get crazy, we can put a little bit on the shaft. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. But next thing we're going to do, oh yeah, I feel it slides real nice. There you go. Really make it happy. Take this. We're going to wipe off the excess because we don't need that right now. Take that. Take our shims. Slide our shims in. Take our our cotter pin. Drop the cotter pin in. I just need to bend the cotter pin over, and that is it. That hub is installed and ready. Can't put the tire on until I get the brake band assembly on it, but in a nutshell, there it is. And there's the final install. Cotter pins all bent over real nice and clean. The hub assembly is on, as you can tell. It looks good, has a nice appropriate gap. Everything seems to work real good. That little tinking you hear is very common. It is the paw just clipping a couple of the teeth. The ratchet drive on these things are not that sophisticated, but that's it. Now, the opposing side is exactly the same. There's no difference. So, with that, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.